Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning, I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Rev, we are here during this holiday period for two reasons. One, because we want to be with our audience, and two, we didn't win the Powerball. So, had we won that, was it $1 billion or something?
It was $1.7 billion now.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
And I just for fun of it, I buy a ticket knowing I won't win. But when I buy the ticket, I start thinking, well, what am I going to do?
So if you win,
right?
You're going to give me the ticket because you didn't intend to buy it or win. Okay. You heard it. You heard it here.
When people make the plans and, my son usually calls me and says, did you win? Did we win?
Did we win?
Did we win? Or did I
right.
win? In his name, did I win? Yeah. Anyway, we are privileged to have with us one of our favorite people, Noam Laden, who does the News Hour here at WABC as part of the morning show. And I grew up at Noam Laden. When I started radio, he was there in the studio doing the news then, and just a very special human being who comes with that calm spirit no matter what's going on in the world. You feel better when you remember Walter Cronkite when he would broadcast, you'd say, if he says it, I believe it. I feel the same way about Noam. And he's one of my peeps, which makes me even more, there's more credibility.
You don't give yourself enough credit because actually I got my start in New York City radio anyway, was on with you all those years ago. You guys gave me a spot on Sunday morning to do the news. Yep. And from there, I just
went downhill.
It was all downhill. Yeah. I got very fortunate, but I mean, my first gig doing anchoring news was on Sunday mornings. I don't know if you know that, but that's where I started.
I also know that when I first started, Chris Cimino, who went to
right, Chris Cimino, right?
Great guy.
NBC, he did the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave a start to a lot, and even Reverend Bernard, had a little storefront, and I came along, and I
nobody had heard of him
gave
before.
His big break, and now he's got a major.
I remember people used to say AR who?
Yeah,
until you brought him on.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
By the way, with all kidding aside, you have to go to a service at Christian Cultural Centers because center. It really is a remarkable experience. People there are so energized. They're energized when they walk in, and they renew that energy as they live, and they're just thrilled to be there. They travel right, Rev? They travel great distances to be there.
Yeah. We have people who actually, and they can afford it because they own their own businesses, but they fly in from different parts of the country.
Wow.
And we have people who are bi-coastal, and of course we have people who are local as well. Yeah, it's an interesting mix of people coming together to celebrate and learn and grow.
It just shows you if you offer something that people value, they will attend.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at the news 2025.
Well, clearly maybe one of the biggest stories, and we can always argue about what the top 10 are. So these are just a random top 10. I didn't really put them in any order. But President Trump, you would have to say is probably the biggest story in so many ways of 2025. An inauguration that a couple years ago nobody saw coming. They didn't think he would make it back to the White House. Now he's back in the White House for a non-consecutive term. That's only happened once before. And he's been involved in a lot of initiatives over the last last year or so. A lot of them abroad, right? I mean, trying to make peace all over the world. He's helped in the Middle East, which, of course, is a big story for the Jewish community, helped get back the people, the Israelis and the non-Israelis who were kidnapped by Hamas, negotiated their freedom, has now negotiated, along with Steve Witkoff and others, the peace treaty in the Middle East that, for now anyway, seems to be holding.
You know, I talk to members of the Jewish community, and no matter where they are in the political spectrum, they readily admit he's been a great friend of the Jewish people. He is responsible for the release of the remaining hostages. Hopefully he recognized Jerusalem as the capital. The Golan Heights become part of Israel. So he is a friend.
How do we understand that, though? I mean, is it because he personally takes interest in the Jewish people, or is it who he's surrounded by? And I know a lot of people that surround him who are very, very pro Israel, and he made promises to them that if they got him into power, he would be a big friend for the Jewish people. What are your thoughts on that, gentlemen?
It is interesting that, though his policies are very unpopular with younger Americans, there's no two ways about it. Younger Americans do not feel the same way about Israel than people, let's say, over 50 do. So he's at odds with them for sure. But if you look at the older Americans, for the most part, they probably support what he's done in Israel because they've been longtime allies of the Jewish nation.
Yeah, although if you looked at the Orthodox community and you looked at the young people there, they're also very taken by him. He's been consistent when it comes to the Middle East. It's not like, he looks at poll numbers, obviously, in what you said. Doesn't look at poll numbers and say, well, I'm going to change my policy. He's been very consistent, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, there's the tariffs, which has been a big story. Immigration, he's done, well, a lot of people will agree, whether they're left or right. He's done a good job at sealing the borders. There's not this free flow of illegal immigrants crossing the border right now. Obviously, some of his policy is controversial about who he's sending back to their native countries. But one after one executive order, you can't say that this president's lazy. I mean, there's always some new policy. You may not agree with it. You may be very in favor of it, but it seems almost every day he's announcing something new that he wants to do.
Yeah. He's not good at condolence notes. Yeah.
What's that?
He's not very good at condolence notes.
Yeah.
Well, that's been his motivation, it seems. I made these promises, and I'm going to try my best to keep them in every way possible. But he has radically rearranged government in this country. Speak to that, Noam, please.
Yeah, well, he has essentially blown up certain things that he doesn't think are right. And for sure, with immigration policy, I mean, really, for decades, it didn't matter whether it was a Republican or a Democrat that was in office. It didn't seem to change very much. And he said, no, I'm done with this. And those policies seem to have worked. He has DOGE, right? He had Elon Musk led that task force that looked and searched for ways to save money. The tariffs, I don't remember, at least in my lifetime, where you had a president at the White House or his advisors publicly fighting with nations all over the world about tariffs. And he says in the end, he's brought a lot of money back to America, has even promised that many Americans will get some check next year, a tariff dividend check, because of his tariff policy. All those things, at least for me, are new. I don't remember a president in my lifetime doing
those things. He's not afraid to enter those zones that for years people wouldn't touch, right? People felt, no, I'm not going there. It's not popular. It's not important. And he turned that around.
Yeah. Even the small stuff, like the penny, ending the penny, right? That's on his watch. And he said, it's silly. Why do we make pennies anymore if it costs more than a penny to have one? I mean, it seems sort of silly that you would say, like, why is he getting involved in the small stuff? But he likes that as well, the small stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think he continues. How do we reconcile the rhetoric? I mean, it is clear that he has said things about people, about industries, about communities. I mean, he said things that are obviously, you can't take them any way other than how he's presented them, and it's been offensive. How does a public, we're talking about all the good things that have been accomplished, but how does a public respond to the other realities of this president?
Well, I would guess that his supporters will tell you they don't agree with everything he says. I mean, the latest one that got controversy was Rob Reiner, right? He wrote what most people would describe as pretty horrible things about Rob Reiner in the immediate aftermath of him being murdered, allegedly by his own son and his wife, too. And I think if you talk to supporters, they'll say, that's just part of who he is. You're going to get some stuff that I don't like. He's going to make public statements that are offensive. But those are the same people who then voted for him last time around.
I was reading an article by someone. He asked the question, will President Trump get to heaven, right? And he said, look, if you look at some of the things, for example, he mentioned the Reiner thing, that was offensive. On the other hand, if you look at some of the other accomplishments, and when you look at a person's record, you look in toto. They said, yeah, he's going there because the pluses outweigh the minuses. And, I think that's part of religious tradition is that you do, when you look at a person, you give that person the benefit of the doubt. You look at the entire record. So you can be angry at certain things, and then people say, yeah, but the policies. How many times have you heard that? It's the policies. Yeah, the person is flawed, but the policies have been very, very beneficial for us.
Right, of course.
You see, this go ahead.
I'm sorry, Reverend, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is the dilemma that the Christians who surround him have, because their ticket to heaven is a relationship with a person, Jesus Christ, not... I did this good, I did that good. So they're in a dilemma, and that's why they've tried to even make him Christian and say that, he's just a baby Christian and he's coming along. Because there's a difference in theology as to how one actually achieves heaven. If it's based on works, then we have to judge. Okay, how did that line up based upon, the naughty and nice list? Since it's Christmas, we have to look at it that way. I don't know if they're going to ever reconcile their beliefs about that. But if we judge him based upon his works, just what he's accomplished, what he's done, and if you could separate out all of the rhetoric, which is difficult for me, because of some of the things that he said, it's going to be interesting to see how history records his presidency. Yeah. 50 years from now. What do you think, Noam?
I think you're right. They'll have to parse through all the comments. I mean, he gives us so much in the media as a reporter, constantly with the Truth Social. I mean, the access is unbelievable, unlike any other president. And that's why maybe some of the reason you get maybe so much that can be seen as offensive from him, because he's constantly talking, right? I mean, you think about the past presidents, Joe Biden, Barack Obama. Right. They only really would come out and talk to reporters when they had something, a policy they wanted to talk about. They wouldn't talk about what was on TV last night. They wouldn't talk about something in the entertainment world like he does.
Yeah. He's not scripted.
Yeah.
Right? Just comes out and lets loose on anything that's on his mind. All right, we're going to take a break. Noam, you're worried about your getting into heaven one day, right?
Yeah.
That's why you came on the show.
That's 100% why I'm here. Yeah. Hope you'll give me my blessing.
All right. We got our producer here, Jonas Jackson. So we'll be
giving us a signal, right? Yep. We'll be back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks.
This shrimp and coconut sauce is divine. What's your secret?
Goya coconut milk.
How does it taste so good?
It's all in that real coconut flavor and that rich, creamy texture.
What about thickeners and added sugars?
None. Just smooth, coconutty goodness.
What can I make with it?
From curries to sweet treats like coconut flan, the possibilities are endless.
Goya coconut milk. Take your cooking to the next level. No question about it. Find it in the Goya section of your local grocery store. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
We're talking with Noam Laden, who does the news hour here so well at WABC Radio and also part of the morning show. Noam, I know the Rev wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, look, we've got so much to cover in such a short period of time, but wrapping up our discussion with the present administration, his promise was make America great again. He's going to focus on America. America's going to be wonderful. But some of his base is becoming concerned because he's been involved in a lot of foreign affairs. How do we understand that problem?
Yeah, well, let's go back to the assassination of Charlie Kirk earlier this year and all of his followers. And those are Donald Trump followers, no two ways about it. And when he spoke to them and asked them for their support, he talked about really America first, that I'm going to work on what's wrong with America. And so they just had a convention over the last weekend, and you had, they're still supportive of the president. They're not ready to abandon him yet, but they are asking that question. Why are you trying to solve things overseas when there's so many things wrong right here?
Well, if you put J.D. Vance next to Donald Trump, I think there'd be a divide in terms of one favoring more isolationist and the other still feeling, there are things out in the world that we need to address. We can't just keep to ourselves. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think you have to be part of the world to make, for so many reasons, but they're asking, there's so many different peace processes he's been involved in, right?
Right.
And some people are
bragging
mad
about them.
And maybe rightfully so, bragging about them if he was really instrumental in making peace in these places. But again, his supporters will say that's not why we elected
But
you.
he's not afraid, is he? He's not afraid to go where others are afraid to go. Whether it's Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, right? Whatever the crisis is, he wants to address it. And for that, I think you're deserving of credit. By the way, before we go to the next topic, I just want to say I am impressed with Ben Shapiro. I met him here at WABC. Rev, you met him some time ago. And the fact that he'll go after members of his own party, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, I think takes much courage, because it's very hard to criticize your own, but he wasn't afraid to do so. He goes after.
But you're speaking specifically about Israel, his position on Israel, correct?
Yeah, and the anti-Semitism.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that he'll go after them, he'll go after those on the left. I find sometimes, and I have to say this, there are those on the left who don't go after the left, but those on the right who do go after, the right. So he's to be commended in my eyes. But let's go to, we don't have you that long.
One of the big big stories of this year was the passing of Pope Francis. That was back on April 21st. He was 88 years old. And then maybe, at least for me, and maybe not for you two, I was shocked when all of a sudden we got an American Pope.
Well,
I never
we got
would
inside
guess
information. They called us.
Oh, they did
before the decision was made.
Yeah, we got Pope Leo from a guy from the Windy City, from Chicago, and here he is, and I think that for sure, and within the Catholic world, was the biggest story of the year.
We got a cardinal now from the Windy City, right?
Yeah, that's right. And now Archbishop Dolan had to give his resignation, as you do at age 75, and Pope Leo accepted that resignation. And now Ronald Hicks, who's a bishop in Joliet, Illinois, will come here in February and become the new Archbishop of New York.
Look, Rev, you and I have enjoyed an extraordinary relationship with Cardinal Dolan.
15 years,
15 years of closeness, where we could say whatever we wanted to one another. I've been friends with a number of cardinals over the years, but Cardinal Dolan has been exceptional in terms of his outreach to the interfaith community. Cardinal O'Connor was also very good that way. But interfaith is, and I was talking to the new cardinal coming in, and he said that interfaith for him is a priority as well. So I think he's going to continue the legacy of Cardinal Dolan. And Cardinal Dolan will remain in New York.
Oh, he is going to stay here.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And he seems to be more progressive. Cardinal Dolan was quite conservative in his views, but this Pope and this Cardinal coming in seems to be more progressive. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the issue of immigration has been discussed. Cardinal Dolan, I remember the statement he put together. He was pretty strong on immigration. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of daylight there. But just a remarkable, I was taken with his soul. This is a guy who would meet you, embrace you, and you would feel, wow, he really cares. Some people look at you, but they're looking behind you to see who's the person next that I have to talk to. He looks at you and really very sincere, a great representative. So we're going to have two cardinals in New York, right? which is not unusual for the Jewish people. We have 2 chief rabbis in Israel, so we can have 2 cardinals.
Why not?
Yeah,
Two's
we had
better
it
than
with
one.
we had them Cardinal Egan and Cardinal Dolan.
Right.
Yeah, well, we had 2 popes for the
That's
first
true.
time.
We did have 2 popes.
Yeah.
Two living popes, for the first time. So, so what's next?
Okay, so you can't talk about 2025 without the biggest political story in New York City's Zohran Mamdani. Back in back in February, he was at 1% in the polls. 1% in the polls, right? And then he went on to beat Andrew Cuomo in the primary in June, which was a shocker. And then went on to win as mayor. And so he'll take over in just January 1. He'll take the oath of office. And there's so many different aspects of what was a wild campaign, but it'll be interesting to see how he governs. He's a progressive. He doesn't deny it. He's proud of it. He's a socialist. He's proud of those socialist roots as well. So how will it all play out when he takes over in January?
Yeah. I had a good friend of mine is a political pundit, and he said, if you want to become a great mayor, you can't write off, say, 2/3 of the New York Jewish community. You can't turn your back on them. You have to work with them. I don't know where this is all going to go. So you can't just be the Democratic socialist as the mayor. You have to be the mayor of other people as well, of other groups. But we'll see. So far, he hasn't compromised on.
But the 3 of us know that this New York is a machine. It's a machine that is in place, and just coming in and putting in new commissioners doesn't change that machine.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. And in 100 days, he's got to build coalitions, build relationships, both local and federal, and of course state. And that's not an easy task. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Also, Noam just stepped up for me. He just has a commitment he can't break. But the young people who are energized, right? That was, we always say young people, they don't care. They're apathetic. They weren't apathetic here.
Isn't that how change has taken place politically and socially in our nation? I was reflecting on the 1960s and 1975 specifically, and man, the things that changed so radically. You had the you and I were talking about this the other day. You had the old people, not the old people, the seniors saying,
mature.
What's going on? What's happening here? And they have young people saying, finally, things are changing.
Yeah,
we're seeing that today.
Yeah, you and I had a very good discussion the other day. I said to you that when African Americans see a noose, it's a symbol of hatred. It's a symbol of horror. When Jews hear the words globalize the intifada. It's hatred and horror. So that's why a number of us have strongly said to this mayor-elect, denounce it. Don't discourage it. That doesn't do anything. Denounce the phrase.
You want him to use that word, denounce. Denounce.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Denounce the noose. You wouldn't just say, I discourage people to, put a noose on a door, and then when someone says, when he says, I won't use it. Well, that means you won't use a phrase that means kill the Jews. I mean, that's just weak. That's not what needs to be said. So we got to keep pushing that.
Well, you made it clear your feelings about this new mayor, but I think the reality is, no matter who is mayor, we have to work together. That's the only way we're going to make progress. And if you could push that kind of change, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
but
you don't compromise your core values. Working together doesn't mean that you have to, in some way, camouflage who you are. Be yourself. Look, I just see in the distance Sid Rosenberg walked in. I said to him one day that my father was a big believer in being a proud Jew. He said, I don't care what kind of Jew you are, be proud. Whether it's a Catholic, a Jew, or no matter what your tradition, be proud of who you are. And therefore, don't be afraid to say what needs to be said. And even if it costs you some of your popularity, so what? You can look in the mirror and say, I stay true to principle.
And we have to have that conversation about core values. Exactly what are we talking about? So, hey, but we got to go to another break, right?
We do. We're going to come back with more discussion.
All right. So stay tuned for more of the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks.
Thanks for listening to The Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear The Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.